Welcome to Informed Insights, the official podcast of Informian.com. Our special guest today is Scott Gilman, who is the current Vice President of Operations at Adopt-A-Contractor, where he leverages his extensive experience in the home improvement and pest control industries. Prior to this role, Scott held key positions at Sears Home Improvement Products, truly Nolen of America, and the Home Depot. His background in these industry-leading companies has equipped him with a deep understanding of operations, customer service, and business development.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Informed Insights. And today we have a very special guest, Scott Gilman of Adopt-A-Contractor. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm well, Fred. How about you?
I'm living the dream here in Chicago. I'm really looking forward to this discussion today. So many years of experience, and what a background with you. I'd like to dig deeper into your history and also hear about what you're doing today. But to start out, can you tell us a little bit about your road to Adopt-A-Contractor?
I was in retail 35 years ago, and long hours, 24-hour days. I ran convenience stores. I had about 50 of them. Got called out for every burglary and said, this is kind of silly. Got to be a better way to do things. So I looked at home improvements. Sears had an opening. They were looking for a fast-track manager, start out in sales, but good company. Went to work with them. Actually worked my way up through small branch, large branch, district manager, region manager, and 9 years later ended up as their VP of Ops. So a lot of experience on the user side or end user and actually using leads. We sold them. We installed them. And then we, of course, did the service work behind them. Sears eventually sold that business. And I shifted over to Home Depot. I spent 13 years there. And again, I ran their Southeast U.S. for the Home Improvements Group for 4 or 5 years. They asked me one day if I had any experience in call centers. I said no, other than overseeing a couple as part of my Sears tenure. And they said, well, our biggest issue right now is our call center in Tampa. You live in Florida. Can you go help us with it? Sure. Walked into a bit of a disaster. We had about 60 agents taking all of our calls. The manager had been let go for an HR issue, very sudden, and folks really didn't have a clue. But we redesigned it. We fixed it. We made a lot of improvement to it. And we took it from 60 agents to eventually 1,200 in 5 different locations. Kind of a neat achievement. My 6-month adventure turned into another 5 years. Then took over as TCPA director. That was kind of an accidental thing. I was reading a white paper one day in 2013 and went, oops, we're not in compliance. We probably should be. And so got appointed to that position as well as call centers. Been quite an adventure. As part of that, though, they asked me to take over lead buying. So I got into lead aggregation, marketing, all of the things that we had to do to augment the leads that we were already getting through the stores. I then moved over to Sears. Figured out that we weren't in compliance and thought we ought to do something about it. Traveled around the country with our compliance with a compliance team that we outsourced, figured out the issues we needed to fix and got them corrected. That's how I got into compliance. I later became their TCPA director as part of my duties. The next step, of course, was they said, you know what? You're calling on all of our marketing leads. So why don't you get involved in marketing? And I did. So I started buying all of the affiliate leads, all the ones that we had to have to augment what we were getting from the stores. Made some improvements and fixed it. Again, a new piece in that journey. I now sold the leads, installed them, and now I bought them. The Home Depot at that point made the decision that they wanted all of their director level people to move to Atlanta, and I didn't want to go. So I made the decision to leave Home Depot. Was going to retire, but Sears came to me and said, hey, we need a director of marketing. Can you come back for a couple of years? Again, I did. I ran their home services marketing group for a while. Took marketing costs from 21% to about 13%. Which was quite an adventure. You've seen some of the stuff that happened with the bankruptcy. So again, made an attempt at retirement, stayed that way for, 3 months. Didn't like it. Ran into the folks at Adopt at a show, and they asked me to come help them with the end user market. So they were doing an amazing job. They'd been around for 9 years and had been doing a great job selling to folks like Modernize, Angie, all of the other aggregators, but they wanted to move into and start selling to actual end users. Home Depots, the folks that I had worked for. And they asked me if I could help build that.
What year did you start evaluating leads, and what has been the biggest change in that aspect of your job?
Are you talking about affiliate type lead?
Yes.
I've been in the lead business since, for 30 years. We just generated most of them ourselves. Store leads, field leads, all that kind of stuff. Affiliate leads, probably 2013 when I started getting involved with TCPA.
Has that changed significantly, or is it still pretty much the same as it was in 2013?
There's a lot more fraud today than there was in 2013. We have bots. We have people trying to make a quick buck. A lot of overseas players that don't play by the same rules that we do here in the U.S. Or North America. And so you have to filter for that type of activity, and you have to understand who you're buying from.
What is the mission of Adopt-A-Contractor, and how has it evolved?
So when Adopt started, they knew they needed some differentiators. And I've only been with them 3 years. So a lot of this happened before my time. There's 4 partners. All came from France. 2 went to Israel, and they opened an office and started our tech team. 2 came to the U.S., and these are the folks that ran the business department or the business team. The differentiators, so they decided early on that they wanted to only sell exclusive leads. They tried getting involved in the shared market. They realized that, it just wasn't for them. So only have sold exclusive leads for the past 9 years. And then they realized that they needed a way to send the right lead to the right person, because not all leads are the same. Not all suppliers are the same. Not every website creates a different type of lead or lead activity. And so they started what at that time was a very rudimentary AI system. It's been developed for the past 9 years and enhanced, and it creates a pretty interesting end user experience. When I say end user, I'm talking about the people that buy the leads, in that we can now match up data that comes back from each of those end users or each of those buyers and say, you know what, this is what they want. This is what works for them. And we can profile each lead coming in through probably 100 data points and make decisions on what to send to them. So it's gone from a very rudimentary system to a pretty evolved system, and it's all proprietary, which is kind of neat. In that, we sat down this morning for 15 minutes doing a brainstorming system for a major company, and what they're asking for is more volume. And so we've gone back and said, hey, can we do tiered price points? Yes, you can. We don't care what the cost is. We don't care what the volume is. We just need to understand that it's going to bake out on our end from a marketing cost perspective. And so we're able to design a system that will be able to send them different quality leads at different price points very quickly, and put it together so we can get it out to those folks and help them reach their goals.
What feedback have you received from contractors who use your platform to find new clients?
So it's interesting. They're always a little skeptical when they first come to us because they've probably tried 5 or 6 other companies. And we've taken the feedback that we've received over the years and make some pretty significant modifications to our system. What feedback do we get? Not all your leads convert, or they convert at a lower rate than one that we get ourselves. Of course they do. They're third-party leads, they're white label leads. They don't perform as well as a referral lead or one that you generate yourself through your own websites. We get extremely good feedback. We've got a major buyer out there, big West Coast company that tells us we're their top provider. We're running marketing costs last month 6%. But a lot of that is dependent on their systems and the work that they do on their end. This particular company calls right away, they text, they email, they do everything right. And so they get really good results. It's not just the feedback that we get, it's what we do with it and how we work with those companies to help them improve their system so that they can help us. The other thing that we ask for, and it is part of feedback, is data. So love to get verbal feedback. Great to get on calls every couple of weeks, but without data, it's useless or it's hearsay. Because a company can get feedback from a sales consultant, and it's a snapshot. So what becomes critical and what we ask for as part of our feedback tools is data. We have an entire data team that does nothing but evaluate every lead that comes back from the customer, the disposition data, and then make decisions based on that individual customer as to how we can improve what we're sending them. I've worked with a lot of lead companies as a buyer, and the folks that don't ask for data, don't utilize data, and don't use it to make decisions, then probably aren't going to be the best provider in the world. Again, everything that I do I look at it from a buyer's perspective because I was one for 15 years. And we evaluate everything from that perspective and try to understand how to meet their KPIs.
Scott, what contact details are of most interest to your customers? And what are the data points that really make a difference for contractors specifically?
So we're getting a lot of data points from the lead itself. So we're getting the name, address, the phone number, the email, all of that stuff. And then we have API hooks that are going out to different companies that are grabbing homeowner data. What type of home is it? Single family home. We're getting all that data on our end. We're looking at income levels. In some cases, we're looking at credit scoring. We're doing a lot of that evaluation on our end. That helps us make a decision on what goes to who. When I say data back from the company, I want their disposition data, or as much as we can get it, and we want to, if we can, get it at a lead level. So we have companies that use different systems to actually give us real-time feedback on what happened with each lead, with each contact. So we send out John Doe. We get back. We tried to contact him today 3 times. We sent him a text. We did all of this stuff, and it turned into something. Do not contact. Wrong customer. Those are return reasons. It turns into an appointment. It turns into a demo. It turns into a sale. How much is the sale? Did it go from gross to net? Did it do all those things? And in the end, our data team's taking all that and saying, you know what? In the beginning, our contact rate is blank. How can we improve it? Because that's the first piece. And then from there, you've got to go to demo rate. You've got to go to close. And you've got to look at all the other stuff. With one company, what was critical was, did it go from gross sale to net? We were seeing a lot of credit rejects. We actually worked with them on a couple of other lenders that could buy down the credit scores. And we fixed it. We were also able to do some API work to get credit scoring so that we were able to help.
How has technology played a role in enhancing the services provided by Adopt-A-Contractor?
So technology is our backbone. So we get 12 million pings a day. Ping is nothing but a zip code and a product that says, are you interested? Without systems and without technology, we wouldn't be able to handle the workload. Or we could. We just have 100 people scattered around the country. But our systems and our technology is what handles most of the work for us. It's the reason that we can run this company with 30 people and not 300. It's the reason that we can do the job that we can for our consumers and our customers. Technology is critical. And gosh, we were probably one of the first users of something called AI. It's become a buzzword today, and the systems have been greatly enhanced. But without technology, well, picture 12 million pings a day coming in saying, hey, here's a customer. Are you interested?
What trends are you currently seeing in the home improvement and contractor industry?
So home improvements in general is booming. Everything that I see talks about the fact that what was a $500 billion industry is well on its way to 800 billion, 900 billion. And it's recession proof. In a recession, people don't move. They fix their homes. And when the economy is booming and people are moving like mad, then you know what? They got to fix their homes to move, and or they're fixing it once they move in. So it's a wonderful industry to be in. It's the backbone of our business. While we do insurance and we do legal, and both are important to us, home improvements, I think, will always be our bread and butter. And it's a staple for the U.S. I mean, picture all the contractor jobs, all the folks that you have out there that are working in the industry. I know I did. I installed windows, I sold them, did all this stuff. And so see it as just, it's not going to go away. Houses are getting older, they've got to be fixed.
How has the demand for certain types of services changed over the past few years, specifically during and after the pandemic?
So we saw a bit of a dip after the pandemic because when folks sat at home, they realized that they had to fix their homes. And a lot of that work got done during the pandemic. Post-pandemic, we saw a bit of a dip, and then it picked right back up because the economy recovered. People had money to spend. There was disposable income, and a lot of folks poured it into their houses. We've not seen a big change in the home improvement industries. I mean, you see seasonal changes. In the spring, folks go, you know what? It got cold last winter. I want to put in the windows in the house. Or it rains like mad, and I figure out I need a new roof because the dining room table is a bit wet. But overall, the industry has it's been great.
Where do you see Adopt-A-Contractor in the next 5 years? And what are your long-term goals for the platform?
We'd love to white label the platform. We'd love to figure out a way to share the ability to be able to pick out and make decisions on what the best lead is. That's probably a long-term goal, one that we hope to have in place in the next couple of years. We hope to just continue to improve the customer service that we offer to our customers. So if we can continue with success stories, companies like, I won't name the name, the big West Coast guy that's running at a 7% marketing cost. If we can continue to do work like that, we can continue to improve our AI and our data team so that they're able to do a lot of the work for the customer, do the sorting, be able to get them the best product, then the company will automatically grow. And again, that's our theory in life is look at everything from a buyer perspective, understand how we can get the best possible product out to them, and they'll stay around forever. Never been a turn and burn company. Do not want to be folks that have a call center that does nothing but call to try to find new consumers because you went through the old one. We just want to keep the same ones and build on that network.
What advice would you give to a homeowner or a business looking to start a new project in their search for the right contractor?
So I'm going to go back 15 years. I'm not going to talk to Adopt or lead generation, but do your research for a consumer. Look at the reviews. Gosh, get some advice from your neighbor. Find out who they bought from. Go on the various websites. But once you've settled on a contractor, investigate them. Make sure you've got all the licenses in place, that they have the proper insurance. Check with a Better Business Bureau. Make sure you got the right person. Because once they start tearing your home apart, you don't have a whole lot of choice. You're kind of stuck with it.
What has been the most rewarding aspect of working with Adopt-A-Contractor for you personally?
It's a smaller company that cares about their people and cares about their customers. And those are the things that are important to me at this point. I could have retired 3 different times. I just don't like it. All my friends drink and complain. I don't drink and I don't like to complain. So I love being in an environment that's positive where, you know what, the goals are achievable and we have fun. And we hit a goal 3 months ago. And so the company took everybody out on a yacht for the day. What a neat thing to do, especially when you're in Miami. And working for a company that has that type of attitude, just positive, upbeat, and what can we do to have fun in the workplace is neat.
What advice would you give to a younger listener just starting their journey in the business world?
Wow. You would ask me a tough one right at the end. I actually mentor 3 or 4 different people, and I don't know if anybody young really knows what they're going to do with their life. I think they have a pretty good idea. They come out of school and they say, here's what I'm going to do. You know what? Learn from your experience. Listen to the folks that have been in the business for a while. Try to go to conferences and try to get outside of the workplace that you will eventually pick so that you're getting other input than just the input that you get from your own business. We try to go to conferences. We try to join groups. We're involved in TCPA, REACH, Insurance Marketing Coalition, all those different groups. We do it both for business input and just so we get outside of our narrow funnel and try to understand what's going on in the world. Try to do that as much as you can. Interact with others, especially folks outside of your own business, so that you get outside opinions and other thoughts, and try to keep an open mind. You know what? Have fun. You don't work to live. You work so you can live and so you can have a family and do all the other things that you want to do in life. Make sure you have a good mix and enjoy yourself.
Regarding the legislative changes enacted earlier this year and potentially forthcoming, how did that affect your business? And what advice would you give to businesses who are struggling with the general uncertainty around outreach?
We followed everything that we thought the FCC was going to do. We thought they had 3 different ways they could have gone. Of course, they went the 4th. And while they're trying to do all the right things, and I understand what they're trying to do, my phone rings too, and I hate it. They really went about it in an odd way. So it did create some uncertainty. We're not quite sure how we're going to do this. Is it going to be ping, pick, post? Not quite sure what process we're going to use at this point. Can tell you that the Insurance Marketing Coalition's got a challenge out there to the law. We're waiting on a decision as to whether or not we get a stay. Hope to. Better Business Bureau is another one that is challenging this new ruling. But if it goes into effect, we're going to have to figure it out. You got Ping Pick Post. You got 2 or 3 different programs out there that will work. It's just going to make life a little bit more challenging. The business will survive it, though. I mean, everybody thought the sky was falling in 2013, and we figured that out. They thought the sky was falling in 2018, and we figured it out. We'll figure this one out, too. and probably in the next 60 to 90 days. I know that we're working closely with one of the larger companies to figure out how to pass data back in a way that protects us and will allow us to show the end user to the consumer when they first log onto a website. We should be able to do it. Tech's amazing. Two, we're looking at calls. We've moved heavily into calls, and we're focused on organic traffic to our own website. So we're making these changes that we need to if the law goes into effect, and I think it's planned for January of next year, and hoping like the dickens that we get this stay, because we really want the FCC to go back and relook at this and try to figure out a different way to hit the goal that they're trying to hit, which is relieving unwanted calls to the consumer.
Scott Gilman of Adopt-A-Contractor, thank you once again for your participation on the Informed Insights podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise with our audience.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for listening to Informed Insights. To learn more or listen to another episode, please visit Informian.com.